My name is Daniel Miller from McVeigh, Pennsylvania. This is a 1974 Kenworth W925.
And it has quite a story from what I was briefly told.
It does. So my pap worked for a company in town, in McVeigh Town, where he lived, for CO Sunderland. And in 1974, he ordered him a new truck. Was painted differently. It was a two-tone baby blue Seminole with a top black stripe and a dark blue base coat.
Do you know that from his memory, or do you have pictures?
I have pictures too.
Excellent.
Yeah, and so 2 years later in 76, Hap offered to buy the truck and the trailer from his boss, and this was his first truck as an owner-operator. I'm probably the seventh or eighth owner. I saw it in 2018 on Facebook. We sort of kept up with the truck, and we knew it was painted yellow at one point.
So he sold it after a while, is what you're...
Yeah, he sold it in 1980. He ordered another truck and sold this one. And 2018, I saw it on Facebook, and I thought, I bet that's the same truck. So
was it for sale, or did you just
No, it wasn't. I asked the guy, the owner, I said, would you be interested in selling this truck? I think it might be my pap's. And he said, no, I'm working it and not really interested in selling it, but I'll keep you in mind. Well, 3 years later, he messages me on Facebook and says, hey, I'm getting rid of equipment. I'm thinking about selling it. I remember you saying something about it. Are you still interested? I have someone who's interested, but I remember you saying something to me first. So
that is excellent.
Yeah.
That he put you first.
He said all that, and I said, well, I'll at least come up and look at it. And so I went up and looked at it, and I bought it kind of on the spot.
Did you know for sure?
Once I saw the blue steering column and the stuff that was still had blue paint on it, I thought, yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same truck. And so I bought it there on the spot. And from there, I never did anything like this before. The frame, it was cracked at the fifth wheel plate pretty much all the way through. So I got a cut off suspension for it, and we welded that on. We took the bunk off, and we got the frame sandblasted and painted.
But you'd never done any of this before.
No, and I had a lot of help along the way. I didn't necessarily do all the painting and sandblasting, but I had good help, got in touch with good businesses. I did a lot of the airbags and all the airlines and stuff in the plumbing, stuff that you wouldn't even know that was done. You wouldn't even see. But, you got to spend the time taking all that stuff apart, learning how it works. If it's broke, you got to replace it. So, yeah, we got all that painted, and it was just a slow process. Like, there's so many different ways you can go into it. Like, what do I do first?
Mm-hmm.
You just sort of, whatever calls out to you first, you do. And you see projects on Facebook, how other people do theirs, and you get ideas, and then you make your own path, kind of. Painting the truck, I took it to a company out between Johnstown and Pittsburgh, Adam and Kevin Moran. It was a pretty new company, and he's actually younger than me.
How old are you?
26. I thought, well, I'll give this guy a shot. And he seems like he does good work from the stuff that he put online. So I said, hey, would you be interested in doing this for me? And he said, sure. So we hauled it down there. Over the course of 6 or 7 months, I believe it was, this is what she come out like. And I put the exhaust and stuff on. After that, you just add bits and pieces along the way and get all the wiring sorted out, because that was its own fun trip. You have 7 or 8 different owners doing their own things. Just with the wiring, you got old wiring to cut out and put new in. My lettering and stuff, that was done last minute.
As in before this show?
Yeah, before the show. So Monday, he did the doors, and then he left to take his child to a game or something.
2 days ago,
Monday? Yeah. And
it's Wednesday, folks.
He says, I'll be back tomorrow morning. Well, we got to leave at 9:30 in the morning.
So you drove here with wet paint? Oh,
it wasn't wet,
yeah.
But it had just been done.
So other than the paint not having the Seminole scheme, how similar is it to when your grandpa had it?
Well, he actually painted it that dark blue in the late 70s. That was my goal with this truck, sort of a symbol of what he represented, the example that he was trying to create in the industry and for his family and for those around him. And so people don't see that looking at the truck, but that's what I was trying to do with it.
Do you drive?
I drove for 3 years. I've been in the industry all my life, pretty much. My dad, he has 40 years under his belt. My grandfather, he has 50. My uncle, he's probably 30, 35. So it's a trucking family.
Was this a you project?
Family helped a lot.
Did they think you were a little bit crazy when you thought you found it?
They were in on the plan, but maybe they're a little bit crazy too. I don't know.
It's hereditary.
Yeah, it comes in, it runs in the family. I actually will warn you, the interior is not done. It's pretty
Okay.
much bare bones. I wanted to get the outside all squared away. What they did paint, they did a good job. Those were the kind of guys that like to take the stuff apart and paint each piece and put it back together.
Blue steering column. That's what gave it away.
Yes, yes. And it was actually a shade lighter blue, but when I bought it, it had a Kaiser roof air conditioner. I thought, oh, just leave that in there because then I got to patch the hole. And my pap, he actually suggested, when people open that door, they're not going to want to see that air conditioner up there. They'll want to see a plain headliner. And so
But did it work, or could it have
I have
worked?
no idea. I'm sure it could have worked. It wasn't. It was on there for probably a couple of years. It wasn't on there whenever he had it, so I thought, yeah, that's a
Quite
big
a
step
step.
there.
I think there's a must be this tall to ride sign
Yeah,
kind of an A
yeah,
model. Well, that is amazing that you found it.
it is,
New.
and it's a divine path. Opportunities come to you. You don't know if you're ready or not to take them, but you do. You take a leap of faith.
And I assume this isn't going anywhere.
No, no, it's not. The Moody Blue, which is what I called the truck, before he painted it solid blue, he had Moody Blue on the Seminole bubble right below the Kenworth word. So that's where I got that from.
Well, it's good that he has so many pictures, enough for you to be able to recreate it years and years later.
Yeah, and sometimes I'd go to him and I say, hey, do you remember back then? How did you have this or that? Or what did you do about this? And sometimes he doesn't remember, and other times my dad remembers more because he was 10 years old whenever he had this truck. So
How did your grandfather react?
I'm sure in his own way, he was very excited. He's a little conservative and reserved, and so am I. That's probably where I get it.
But you're still all crazy.
Yeah, it's still a little
Kenworth
crazy. Oh, yeah.
And this is his truck, right?
Yes.
There will be another separate video of that. Of all the hereditary illnesses you could get, this was a pretty good one.
It's a pretty good one. So that hood pull emblem, when my dad was 10 years old, my paps took some time off on vacation and he painted that blue for him. And that's not the original one. The original one has a tab broke off on the bottom. It just corroded off, but I have it. And somebody had put the standard cover over it. They drilled a hole through it. I took that cover off there, and wouldn't you know, there's some blue paint on that original emblem. That's the story on why I painted that, got that painted blue. C.O. Sunderland, the guy who ordered it, they must have written that in there whenever they were putting the bunk and stuff, the panels together. And it also had a tag taped on the back wall here, just to tell you that it had a heater, the build date and the serial number. And the serial number is the VIN number is actually written on the back here too. So
it's the original sleeper.
It's the original sleeper.
What are you going to do with the interior of the sleeper?
I have new panels made. A guy up in Washington, he made them for me. I have not put them in yet. I'm just trying to get all the wiring and stuff sorted out before I put that up, just so I don't have to take it back off and go underneath for something. So wanted to get the outside taken care of and get everything functional and the way I want it before I sort of finish it off and do the interior paint.
We'll have to do a follow-up video at the next convention out here.
I'll look forward to it. It's coming around in the next 3 or 4 years, I believe.